Today we're taking a look at the Batman animated series episode, The Forgotten. Controversial opinion, I don't love this episode. At least I don't love this episode as much as some people, mostly because it doesn't feel very Batman-y, but it's still pretty good. It opens with a really good setup where Bruce and the audience learn that homeless people have gone missing, so Bruce, being the world's greatest detective, goes undercover to investigate what's going on. He's then jumped and loses his memory and is then forced to work in a labor camp run by a cruel taskmaster. This episode doesn't focus on the comic book aspect of the show so much as it does more of the aspect of human interaction, where you get a sense of just how corrupt Gotham really is. Alfred even gets a bit of time to shine while he searches for the missing Bruce Wayne, which leads to some great moments with him flying the Batwing. And you get these moments where you see Bruce seeing maybe these flashbacks, he slowly gets his memory back. There's little moments where he looks in the mirror and then he turns into the Joker, and things like that are pretty good. And there's moments where he realizes, okay, Gotham is a little bit corrupt, and as much as I want to, I can't save everybody. Like, there's this moment where he's kind of in the slums right before he loses his memory, and all these homeless people crowd around him, and, he, as much as he wants to give them all money, but he can't because he only has so much. He realizes it doesn't matter how much money he has, he's not able to save everybody, whether it be as Bruce Wayne or Batman. And it kind of reminded me of that one scene in Batman v Superman, I think, where there's all those, I think it was skeleton people or something, and they're all crowding around him. Like, kind of reminded me of that a little bit. I wouldn't be surprised if they took inspiration from this episode for that one scene. So, right, it is worth a watch, even if it's not the most exciting episode, just so you kind of, some episodes are more made to make you feel something. It's made you feel human emotion, especially because you do see Bruce shed a tear, which we hadn't seen at this point in the show. And the locations are very well animated as well. It's definitely very, kind of reminded me of Holes a little bit. It's basically an animated version of Holes. A little bit like the warden is even kind of like Mr. Sir from Holes. So, like I said, it may not be the most exciting. It may not be the most superhero-y. There isn't some big overlooming threat. There isn't some big supervillain that takes everything. But it's definitely worth watching just for the human interaction aspect. And so, as much as I don't love this episode, but it's still pretty good.